Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Somos Mas, the official podcast of Somos Mas NM, and your source for the latest news and notes on New Mexico United. My name, of course, is Seth Biddle. Joining me here this evening on our Instant Reacts segment, the one and only Jacob Turrell. Jacob, I almost did it. Tyler did it on the broadcast too. That said something. I'm like, he said it. He called him Star-Lord, and I knew I was going to do it. I was trying so hard not to. The Eric Quill era is well and truly underway at New Mexico United. First match with him at the helm just ended out of the lab a little over half an hour ago. 2-2 draw for New Mexico United and the RGV Toros. Jacob, instant reaction.
What changed? I thought the first half was really good, and saw some different stuff there. The second half was, you could have told me that was a highlight from 3 weeks ago. I don't know. It was a little frustrating, and it was frustrating to have the first half that we had. Even the first half had some similarities. A couple mistakes at the back, one of which led to the first goal there for RGV, and then not fully capitalizing on our chances. But I thought offensively in the first half we did look a lot better. It looked really good. It was pretty clear what we were trying to do. I do feel like RGV made an adjustment there for the second half, and we did not do well to adjust back to it. Or adjust to that adjustment. So I don't know. Kind of disappointed, but still optimistic.
Speaking of that first goal, here's the play, and we kind of talked about it a little bit in our chat, and we guys have a feeling that someone's going to blame this on a certain defender. But you see here he comes up. I don't know what Harry's doing here.
Well, I know what he's doing. It's just
he's trying to draw the foul. Goes
that's exactly
down,
what he's doing.
Gives the ball up. Great save by Alex on the first shot there. And I mean, obviously, and Austin has a chance there to save the second, just can't quite get it. But
it looks like Austin's foot is in the way, and then he moves it out of the way.
Yeah,
I think he's trying to get a kick to it, and couldn't quite get there. So that's something Harry does a lot, and more often than not, he gets the call, but he wasn't in position there. Usually, the only time he's going to get the call is if his back is directly to the defender, and the defender has to push him over. In that one, the defender was kind of on his side, and Harry tried to throw his back in front of the defender, and the ref was not having it, which the ref we can have a whole other conversation on, but we'll get to that in a little bit. And so, yeah, that first goal was a little ugly. The ugly clearance, or I don't know what Sam was trying to do necessarily either, but just one of those goals that just seemed to happen to us this year for some reason. We've just had a bunch of those little small mental mistakes, plus a bad bounce here and there that just end up killing us, and that's clearly what happened in that first goal. The second goal, well, let's stick to the first half. So that happens, but then we kind of take a few minutes to get our bearings after that goal. And then we do respond. We look really good on the attack. It was clear that we were trying to attack through the middle to start, and we had a couple through balls that looked really good, or a couple of longer passes from that back line to not the forwards, but the midfield right behind the forwards there, and it was definitely opening up space here and there. And in the second half, I feel like we tried to do that still, but RGV was kind of hip to it and closed those passing lanes in the middle, and we didn't adjust to that. We didn't try to maybe go wide instead of going middle to wide, and maybe we need to try to go wide to middle there for a little bit, or find some runs in the channels or something, and we just didn't make those connections or adjustments. But the first half, we looked really good. We created some chances. We dominated possession, and it wasn't
It
was
wasn't
like
even
75.
close.
It was like 75, 25 or something like that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like empty possession like we've talked about in the past. There was some passing back, because in soccer there's always going to be some passing back to kind of pull that defense up. But what I liked about it was when we did have chances to attack, instead of passing back, we took those chances and pushed it forward. And you saw Portillo was both on the receiving end of some of those passes and making some of those passes and turning and going and attacking. Definitely did not see what you said we might see with less fullback runs. Definitely saw way more of that. But we did. It was kind of interesting, and they mentioned it on the broadcast. In that first half, Santi and Bruce, as our wide attacking wingers, definitely kind of narrowed out and stayed in the channel more, and let Harry and Austin kind of bomb down the outside. And in fact, several good looks came from one of those two coming basically right to the middle of the field to collect one of those passes, either one of the long passes from the back line or the second pass off of that process, whatever you want to call it. And then the fullbacks did a good job of replacing them on the outside, and that's how we created our width, and we're able to find paths on the outside, which was good to see. But we saw none of that in the second half. And so first half, I give Eric an A+. Second half, I don't know, it felt just like the same old United. Timid, scared, not attacking, and eventually giving up a late goal to lose the 3 points.
Yeah, so I think a lot of what was on the first half, and you mentioned the fullback sitting for it. Now, again, he's had a handful of training sessions, so I highly doubt that this is 100% what he wants to do.
Well, and so I thought that too, but it was such a drastic difference from even what we had been seeing with Zach, because you had been only seeing one of those fullbacks bomb up, usually Harry, and Austin was staying back in kind of a back three in possession. But that was not the case tonight. It was all systems forward for those two. So maybe that was his way of trying to get more in the attack in a short amount of time, because it was a pretty easy tweak. But you're right that it has only been what,
3 days, 4 days?
3 days, 4 days. I think Tuesday he met him. Or what day was the presser?
Tuesday. They had their first training session on Tuesday.
Yeah, so I don't know how much he was. I know he met them. I don't know how much he was involved with tactics there. So yeah, definitely early in the Eric process. And I was just expecting more intensity, and especially in that second half, and we didn't see that.
Yeah, no, yeah. Well, I mean, we'll get to that, but again, you talk about what's different. You look at some of the different positions that people were playing in. Like you saw Austin basically sitting at a striker position. You saw Brucey sitting in a forward position. You saw, and then that center forward. Like you saw them sitting there. You saw the ball over the top early on that Brucey just didn't get on the end of. And I think it was really interesting because you look at some of the almost an inverted positioning. You talk about Santi playing wider out and Austin being on the inside. And there was a spot early in the first half. You can see Austin. There was a spot early on where you see Austin sitting almost like a second striker off to the left, but Santi's farther out wide. And so it's almost kind of what we used to see with Josh Suggs. Suggs making that inverted run coming in from the left wide back position. So it's a little bit interesting because it did still open up space for Santi to work his way back in. And I think Santi did really well tonight for the most part. And then later on, you saw Austin bombing forward and Santi staying back, which I thought was really interesting because Santi is not necessarily the strongest defending forward in the league. And so there were a lot of different things. You saw Hursty dropping way back. You saw Darling dropping way back, trying to get involved. You saw Brucey was playing everywhere across the pitch. Like, the first half, and again, I think we only registered 4 or 5 shots. I'll have to double check the stats the entire night, but there was definitely a lot more movement. The passing was a hell of a lot better, a lot more decisive, a lot quicker.
In the first half.
I'm getting there. We're still talking. We haven't even talked about our first goal.
Bitter, okay? I'm bitter.
Yeah, believe me, there's someone else on Twitter, on not Twitter, on Reddit that's bitter as well already. He doesn't understand the whole Quill train. So, but no, there was a lot of good things in the first half. Like I said, a lot better movement, a lot more decisive passing, better passing. You see You talk about after their first goal, heads kind of hung just a little bit, but then they picked it back up and then they kept going. And again, you can see at times where those runs were coming from and what they were doing. So like in the lead up here to the second goal, I'll back it up here just a little bit. You see, I'm going backward, going forwards. The controls on ESPN are so finicky.
Yes, they are.
I'll back it up just a little bit more. So here you see Harry out wide. You got Brucey up top, is playing more middle towards the center. You see this pass here, that deep pass up forward to where where Hurst should be. That's where I want Hurst to get the ball and turn and shoot. Now he draws the foul here and sets up a tremendous opportunity for someone here. So yeah, you can just see that. Like that's the kind of turn that you want from Hurst. That's what you want out of him. This is what we were not getting in previous weeks. And so you see the setup here, and then you see, now I don't necessarily think the run over from Hurst
definitely shifts the keeper over.
It does just he makes that one step to his left. I think the Hurst, the run up there, but that's all that it does. I don't think it does, because you watch the wall stays put, but the keeper shifts to his left and Portillo puts that in the perfect spot. Like if you watch this here, obviously without Weehan, because that's a perfect spot for Beats to shoot from as well. But great attempt by Portillo there. 1-1 for United, and just again, the run up into that play there just worked really well for United. You could see the ball movement, you could see the players getting around, you could see spaces opening up. I mean, look how much space Hurst had to get the ball at his feet and then turn. Like, yeah, he got fouled, but
I don't think he had a whole lot of space there. There was like 5 blue shirts around him. It was just a perfect pass and then a fantastic turn by Hurst.
Robert, we don't know.
We do know, because he told us 3 times in the chat. He's at a graduation party.
Yeah, Earl finally got promoted from middle school.
And actually, he's on Facebook right now. Yeah. He did throw a comment in the chat from Facebook.
But yeah, to your point, I mean, the second half we didn't look as good as we did in the first half. Now, I will say that the passing was still there. We were making better decisions. We weren't necessarily getting caught in bad positions. But the momentum had definitely shifted. RGV came out. They played better than we did in the second half. I wouldn't say by much, but they definitely looked better in the second half. But yeah, hats off to Brucey, 100th appearance for the club in league play. Gets a goal here. Gotta show Brucey's goal. Got to show that, because Brucey is just, obviously a fan favorite, a guy who's always been really good with us, So this is a play we saw similar to early in the first half. This one, Brucey gets the touch, is able to bring it down, and gets the chip over the keeper. The one earlier was a little bit closer in the goal before Brucey could even try to get a foot on it. I nearly got that one as well. But I mean, just great vision by Sergio on this. Sergio's a guy that we've talked about before. Is he being creative enough? Is he getting the ball in positions where he can be dangerous? And again, there's Brucey in the middle of the field. It's almost, as I said, as a center forward making that run. So again, different positioning, guys doing different things. That's opening up opportunities.
I didn't see that much difference. We've seen Brucey play that right wing before, and that run is coming off the right wing. He's just a little more narrow than being out, if you have 5 lanes, right? You got the 2 outside, the 2 channels in the middle. He's in that channel instead of being in the right outside lane. So it wasn't, it's 10 yards difference, basically, that him and Santi were playing a lot of the night, were just a little more narrow instead of being out wide. And I think that gave the fullbacks a little more space to make those overlapping runs, to get our width and to pull some people out there, pull some defenders out wide, and give those channels to Brucey and Santi. And on that play in particular, he's towards the middle of the pitch, but he's not the spearhead number 9 position.
No.
He's out a little bit wider, and that, and you mentioned Dolling and Hurst dropping back. We saw that in probably our best game when Dolling had the 3 assists. You saw him drop back. You saw him and Hursty both kind of take turns dropping back.
Mhm.
And so seeing that again, I think was somewhat similar, but we didn't see it a lot after we saw it a few times. And the few times that we saw it with Zach, it seemed to work.
Mhm.
And then we stopped seeing it. And so having Hurst play like behind Wagner almost in that first half seemed to really work. And I thought Wags played his part really well as well. He had a couple half chances there and looked dangerous when he was able to get to the ball. And I like that we you see the first goal was some, attack, pass out, pass back, pass to Hurst, all in a fairly compact area. Whereas the second goal was a longer ball played over the top to Bruce making a really good run, which how many times like in the preseason did we see Bruce making a run and getting a ball over the top and creating something out of it? And then we didn't see it all during the regular season this year. So I was, like I said, super excited about what we saw that first half and did see minor tweaks. It'll be interesting to see what kind of changes happen as Eric has more and more time to put his fingerprint on it. But was really excited with that first half.
Yeah, offensively, we didn't really do a whole lot in the second half, which was a bit disappointing. I don't know. I think RGV tightened up their coverage a bit, which which did affect us more than we thought. We didn't necessarily make all the changes we need to. But right here, this is a very small play right here from Alex Wagner. But watch this. Watch the hold up and then the strength that he has to just stand up and keep running with that ball until he finally gets dragged down from behind. That's a professional play from a young man right there. That was a really good play from him. I just wanted to point that out. Just
good call.
Very small thing that you want to see. It wasn't a cheap foul. It wasn't him leaning into something. That was a very well done. Like I said, he's got two guys basically trying to drag him down here. Fights out of one, gets dragged down from behind on second. Well-deserved yellow here. But yeah, just want to point that out because that's not something that you see a young kid do.
No, he's. I mean, we've talked about him quite a bit, and he's 18, but he doesn't play like he's 18. He plays like he's been playing this game for a long time. I mean, he has been playing it for a long time, but plays like he's been playing it at this level for a long time. A well-deserved start, I think, for him. And no, he didn't score. He didn't get an assist or anything, but he did enough to me that warrants, him, Hurst, and Doling are going to be fighting for those starting positions every week.
Yeah. No, I absolutely think so. As we're talking here, I'm watching through some of these moments here in the second half, and I think to me, the biggest change that I see isn't necessarily on our side. It's what RGV was doing off the ball. RGV's press, they've been somewhat successful. I wouldn't say anywhere near as much as they would like it to, but in the second half, their press was a lot better. If you're looking around the 70th minute, there's a pass back. There's a pass to Sergio, who had dropped tremendously deep. And then Sergio just inexplicably turns and puts one of the weakest passes I've ever seen. He's trying to pass it back to, I think it's Kalen at that point. Just gives the ball away in a really bad spot. We saw a couple giveaways like that throughout the match, but not as many as we've seen in the past. But I think RGV just did a lot better at maintaining their defensive shape, forcing us, out of our own rhythm. But yeah, I think it's more what RGV did instead of us. I mean, they dropped back to 5 at the back at times throughout the second half, which really also they're also limited a lot of our opportunities. So, it's more on what RGV was doing than what we weren't. I think RGV, like I said, I think they just did a better job at making that adjustment there in the second half.
But I would like to have seen an adjustment from us.
Yeah,
to counteract that, and you have to go. To me, you have to go into that first half or into halftime, going, "Hey, we did this really good." Those long balls through the middle, and then playing it out wide from there, and created a lot from that. You have to think you would have to think that Eric and Mac had to kind of think that maybe RGV might try to stop that since it worked so well, and then come up with another plan. And that we just never saw that. We just never saw another plan come up. Once they shut those passes through the middle, we just couldn't create anything else after that.
Yeah, and here's the equalizer from RGV. I mean, if anything, you say Austin's a little bit out of position. He committed too soon to try to play the ball. Really nothing that Alex could do on that. I mean, it's hard to see where Austin's at before, that the actual, before the actual delivery of the cross. Like, I really just think he's just too far to that left side. I mean, Kalen's obviously rotated over. Austin's rotated over. And I just think Austin, he's trying to backpedal, committed to the jump too soon. Really well placed ball for RGV, but
I mean, it was a great cross, but I think if Austin's in a little bit better position there, he handles that pretty easily. Yeah. But the problem with this goal wasn't necessarily the goal itself. It was that, I mean, I turned to my wife who was watching the match with me, and I was like, well, that was coming for, I felt that coming for 10 minutes now. We just couldn't create anything. RGV had all the possession right there. When we did get the ball, we didn't do anything good with it.
It looks like Harry had an opportunity to stop this right here, because you see Harry there. He actually got a touch to the ball. Harry did.
And so, it's the play itself is fine. Harry or Austin could have been in a better position. Sam, I think it's Sam, maybe could have stepped out on the guy on, who was it that crossed it? Zetto. Yeah. It could have stepped up on him a little bit more. But at the end of the day, it's the whole second half wasn't good enough. It just needed to be better all around. And when they scored that goal, and I said, I felt that coming. That was obvious. My concern was that they could keep that going, because there was still, 10 minutes left or so when you included stoppage time. And so my fear was that they were going to do to us what we did to them, and that was score 2 late goals, but instead of coming back for the draw, it would have been coming back for the win. And so I was happy to see that we responded after that goal again and had our best looks of the second half. I just didn't like that it took them scoring to get those best looks of the second half out of us. They should have come earlier, tried to put the nail in the coffin, gave us another goal, and instead it was more of a passive sit back. Like you said, RGV did make some adjustments that did kind of shut us down, but you got to be the good teams against RGV are going to be able to keep that lead or build on that lead, and we did not do that.
No, we didn't. And I made one of the tweets I put out was basically saying, that Coach Quill was, you could see him emphatically telling guys, to get moving or move to the closer side, trying to encourage them to close down or move that press up and get more involved instead of, dropping off is what, and instead of dropping off like they were doing. So you could see him trying to get them going.
I didn't notice it as much I noticed he was all over the place in the first half.
Yeah.
I didn't notice it in the second half, but I think that could have just been because I got used to it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he was still pretty animated, but yeah, he definitely was coaching as much as he could from the sideline, which is hard to do in soccer.
Yeah, no, it is. And yeah, it's, again, a tale of two halves. It's something that we've talked about all season long. Really good first half, didn't play as well in the second half. A few minor adjustments here and there, positioning wise, both goals get prevented. But yeah, I mean, I still think I saw enough in the first half to make me go, okay, this team is going to, things looked a lot more fluid. And, in a way, and this, I'm going to throw this back to our Ted Lasso cast we did a few weeks ago. It almost looked like total football. Almost, with guys moving in different positions and doing different things, basically having the license to go wherever they felt like they could. Again, Santi dropping back, playing defense while Austin's going forward. You see Greg Hirsch dropping back. You see Brucey coming all the way across the pitch. You see Harry Swartz going from right to left and left to right, So it almost felt, in a way, like that. And that guys were just going where they felt like they needed to at times while maintaining, the basic shape and formation that Coach Quill wanted this week. So, I think it's unfortunate to get the draw. I think that this team has shown. I think that the first half shows that there's a lot more in this team than what we were getting previously, and I think there's a lot more ways that these guys can be unlocked and coaxed into doing more. So,
but again, my issue with the teams under Zach wasn't tactics. I think the tactics were sound. It was effort and tenacity, and we still didn't have that tonight. You know, Peter, damn it, I did it now. Damn it. You know, Eric mentioned in his opening day or when his introductory press conference, you know, not doing it for 60 minutes, but doing it for 90 minutes. And we did it for 45, and then maybe 5, 7, 8 minutes at the end of the second half after they scored. But most of that second half just was kind of the same old song and dance. And I'm not freaking out about it. I feel like I'm coming across as I'm freaking out about it. I'm not freaking out about it. I do feel like we are going to play better under Eric. It's just this game of all games, I would have thought, hey, new coach, let's go out there. Let's perform our best for him. Mainly because, you know, like he said, you might not be getting, you know, it's a clean slate. You might not. That was a beautiful play by Suggs there.
Was. Now, you talked about the referee. Now here, I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced. To me, it kind of looks like it either comes off his arm or comes off his face. I can't get a clear enough shot of it. I think it comes off his face.
It might be his face, but that wasn't the most egregious.
Oh no, it wasn't by any stretch of imagination. Yeah, see that was where I was at with that, Alex. RGV made the adjustments that we didn't, and that's what Jacob and I have been talking about here. But yeah, no, this referee was very inconsistent, and I think she kind of let things get away from her a bit.
Well, like the first half, like people were mauling each other, and she just sat there and watched them. And then the second half, Kalen gets a yellow card when he doesn't touch a guy.
Easily the worst call of the night right there. Easily.
I mean, if they scored off of that free kick, I'd have been furious.
Yeah, I mean, really great challenge by Kalen there. Let me find it real quick. I want to find it and show it, because to me that was just like an absolutely egregious call.
But there was that. There was a few other little small things that she could do. She got after Brucey for not getting off when he was clearly hampered, which I'll talk about that for a minute. Brucey was one of the best two players on the pitch, I think, tonight, if not the best player.
Oh, hands down.
And he comes off, ends up having ice on his hamstring, which I believe is what he missed. He had the wrist injury, but then he was listed as the lower body injury later or the next match. So seeing I'm not happy that I saw that. So
yeah. Oh, and of course ESPN decides to buffer right then. All right, so yeah, this is the play. This is the play with Kalen.
It'll show a replay. It shows a clearer replay.
Yeah.
After the fact.
Yeah, I'm just gonna back it up a little more. Stupid ESPN. But yeah, no, I mean, this was just an awful, awful call by the referee here. I mean, Kalen goes in, not necessarily a great pass by Alex here to put that ball right there.
Yeah, it was a little heavy, but yeah, you could see everybody's incensed about it, and she came in so eager to give that yellow for no reason. I don't understand why. Like, even if it's a foul, I don't think it's a yellow.
Yeah, here it is. So Kalen's like, great challenge. Like, there's no.
He doesn't touch him.
Cabrera sells the hell out of that.
So Cabrera does get tripped up, but it's because Ryden's foot is on the ball and Cabrera trips over the ball. Mm-hmm. But Kalen himself does not make any contact with Cabrera, and it is one of the worst calls I've ever seen.
Yeah. And I mean, and you know, you go back to the foul on Brucey where Brucey went down early in the second half. Like you look at that too. I mean, that potentially could have been a red card if you or maybe was it? I want to say, where was it? Was it earlier or was it later? Wasn't it?
I thought it was earlier, but I could be wrong.
And, it might have been right. Was it? It wasn't after his goal, was it?
No, I thought it was in the second half. I thought it was early in the second half.
But no, because they gave a yellow for it, so it was either right before halftime or
maybe it was right before halftime then.
Yeah, because 71 was the foul on Wags. But I want to find that foul, and like if you look at that, like it's so much worse. Yeah, it's right at the end of the first half. All right, I'll pause that there. Come back. Sorry, folks, trying to find this. And we want to show this because you look at. So we saw the foul that was called on Caitlin, the yellow card there, and then here's the foul on Brucey coming up here in just a second. Now, I'm fairly certain they show a replay here on this one as well, but yeah, just he comes in unbelievably hard. And why is ESPN doing this now? Like, why? Come on, ESPN.
You're using too much bandwidth with the going live and stuff.
It's not my internet because I have 400 megabytes down now, so that should not be the issue.
Don't know what to tell you. I know nothing about that. I just know it's messing up.
Tell me they show the replay of this.
I don't remember. Quick side note, though, while we're waiting. After RGV scores the equalizer, you see there's at one point a few minutes later where there's a stoppage in play. And then after the play is like set to resume, they throw a water bottle onto the field for somebody.
Yes.
And then the trainer gets a yellow card. But my favorite part of that, and part that was like, you son of a bitch, was
Cabrera goes over and congratulates.
The coach Cabrera goes over there and gives her a high five.
Yeah.
For doing that. And I was like, are you kidding me right now? And then, so it might have happened. Nothing might have happened. Something might have happened. Something might not have happened. Maybe something bad would happen. I don't know. But 3 minutes of stoppage time, and we probably only play about a minute and a half of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then 3 minutes and 10 seconds, she blows the whistle.
Yeah.
It's like we didn't play 3 minutes of stoppage time. We played a minute and a half of stoppage time. And then, because I'm pretty sure the little high five water bottle incident happens in stoppage time. And she doesn't give us any of that time. We had just gotten the ball back and tried to, do something with it. And she blows the whistle. So,
yeah. All right, here comes the foul.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
so
amazed that was not a red card.
Late.
I'm amazed that wasn't a red card.
It's hard to see if his studs are up, but it's just so late and right at the feet of Bruce that it probably should have been more.
Yeah, I think if I look at he doesn't necessarily come in from behind, but yeah, that's such a dangerous play right there. It's so dangerous. Like I would have me as referee, I would be on borderline red on this one. Like, because it's just such a dangerous play. It really is. But yeah, the referee was so inconsistent. And of course, stoppage time, that is, referee's discretion as to whether or not to continue to play or to add on for extra time, for injury time and for things like that, extra stoppages, at their discretion. But yeah, she did not have control of this game. She really didn't. And it could have gotten a lot worse than it did, but obviously there's nothing we can do about the referee. So, but yeah, I mean, again, 2-2 draw, first outing for Eric Quill and his men. Wednesday night, Phoenix Rising at the Lab. How do you? I mean, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what changes happened between now and then. Hopefully, Brucey didn't pick up an injury. Hopefully, he's okay to go. And obviously, Will Seymour was back. He only got a handful of minutes this evening, so good to see him back after his injury. Disappointed to see that Kelowna went down with whatever he's got going on. So
yeah, he's been down for 2 or 3 matches now. I'm pretty sure, but I think this is the first time I've seen him on the injury report. But
yeah, I want this is the second match he's missed because, yeah, this is the second match. But I don't think he was listed last week.
No, I don't think he played in El Paso either.
We can go back and look at it before Wednesday night, but
yeah. But yeah, he I knew because I thought it was the El Paso match, whatever match it was. I remember going, well, we don't have Seymour, and that basically leaves us with Ryden and Kelowna, and then Sam starting, and Kelowna's not even on the bench. It's like, man, we don't have any center backs right now, and I found it hard to believe that unless Kelowna was hurt, he would, if he was healthy, he would have been in the 18.
Yeah,
and so not having him out there definitely is an issue. Good to see Seymour back, like you said. Weehan came off at halftime against Tampa Bay, and I was kind of curious as to why that was because I thought he had looked good. Does look like he picked up an injury then, and that's why he was questionable and ended up not playing tonight.
Kelowna did start against El Paso.
He did? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe that's when he got hurt then.
Yeah, he subbed off in the 76, but I didn't see an injury.
Yeah, I don't remember. But yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, I don't remember. But yeah, Phoenix. I was watching that game earlier. They're currently losing to Lou City in Phoenix 2-1, which is nice for us because they are one of the teams that's directly ahead of us. Colorado Springs did pick up a win though, so they moved a little bit farther away. But we have Phoenix and Colorado Springs, the two teams that are right ahead of us in the standings, or at least they were entering the night. And so those will be 2 big games here at the Lab. And unfortunately, not a whole lot of time between them for Eric to get his changes implemented. Mm-hmm. So we might see a little bit more of the same that we saw today. But overall, I feel pretty good about.
It's 2-2 in Phoenix now.
Is it now? Damn it! I had switched over to watch replays of ours, trying to find a better angle on that foul of Bruce. But so it is going to be a tough test. But I feel like the way we play. Or the way we played in the first half could give Phoenix fits, and if we can keep that up, then I feel pretty good. And maybe having a few more days and a match under our belt, then we can play a little looser and a little freer in the second half, hopefully.
Yep, I'll just have to wait and see what happens. Real quick before we get out of here, Jacob, I do want to ask who wins the Open Cup tomorrow, or the U.S. Open tomorrow, I should say.
I was like Open Cup final. What?
I'm thinking, U.S. Open Cup, blah blah blah. Yeah, who wins the U.S. Open?
Shoffley.
Okay.
And mainly I say that because his name is Xander, like my son. But I mean, honestly, if Ricky Fowler ends up winning it, it'll probably be the most shocking major champion that I've seen in like 5 years.
Right.
Because he has not. I haven't even looked at what the scores are after the third round. Let me do that real quick.
Ricky shot a 70 today.
He's not played good golf.
He didn't play well. Nobody played well today.
No,
I mean, Wyndham Clark played better than most, but yeah, it was today was a lot tougher. Scotty Scheffler did pretty well today too, but
yeah. So maybe Xander's not a great pick after I look at the scores today, but I would love for Ricky to win it. It would be shocking.
Yep, sure would. It hasn't won a major since 2017.
He's never won a major.
Oh, they're right. He hasn't won since 2017. He's never won a major. That's right. So yeah, I've been watching all weekend. It's been fantastic to watch. A lot of fun.
I wish I could have watched all weekend. It has been pretty busy here, so
yeah,
I haven't been able to watch it all.
All righty. Well, Jacob, any final thoughts?
No, I don't think so. 40 minutes, I think, is our longest instant reacts, which is fitting with it being Eric's first game. and an eventful one at that. So yeah, we'll be back Tuesday. Talk about Phoenix, talk about Colorado Springs. Maybe get Earl's takes on this match if he watches it or shows up or breathes that day. I don't know. We'll have to see. He might not make it to that weekend or to that day. But yeah, it's not a terrible start, not a great start. Just kind of a middle of the road start for Eric and his tenure here. But coming in midseason is a little rough, so we'll give him a little more time some more time to figure things out and implement some things and hopefully get healthy. Definitely don't like Brucey going off and Weehan and Kelowna being out, and so hopefully we can get some of them back and nothing major is wrong with Brucey there, and we can come out against Phoenix and give them hell.
Atrocious penalty call in Phoenix, by the way.
Is that what their second goal was?
No, their Phoenix has a penalty kick right now. It's in the 80th minute. It's a
to go up 3?
To go up 3-2, yeah.
Oh, man. I'll check it out.
It's an atrocious call.
Maybe we'll talk about that Tuesday as well. But so yeah, I got nothing else. Seth, if you got nothing else, everybody in the chat, thank you. Alex, Aaron, Steven, Robert, I guess, thank you. But at the same time, fuck off. And we'll catch you guys on Tuesday. And until then, somos unidos.